Much like when I have to field questions to a press conference about why there were 12 dead homeless people found in my garage, a good speech can make or break a situation. Monologues and films go together like a good morning and a bowl of Weetabix. If delivered with gusto, monologues can become the moments which stand out most in a film, even elevating bad movies out of the humdrum and into the public consciousness. But which are the best and most badass speeches in film? Well, let's take a trip down Dialect Drive and Enunciation Avenue to find out. With this in mind, I'm Jules, your Gateshead goon, and these are the 10 most badass monologues in movie history. Number 10, William Wallace, Braveheart. This is the ultimate heroic, courage-building, heart-swelling speech, and pretty much eclipses almost every other aspect of the film. Our hero Mel Gibson's William Wallace stands out on the battlefield, the host of Scotland behind him, the superior English forces before him. With the tides of war not looking in their favour, it's going to take a miracle bit of wordplay to get the rebels to fight with him. Luckily, this monologue delivers on all fronts, and it's a wonderful mixture of passion and desperation. But it's really Gibson's performance that sells the scene. As the men begin to waver, he sits astride his horse, face painted in the Scottish colours, backed by James Horner's heart-swelling score, and speaks to the soul of every man. Hell, he's so good, I want to fight for him, and I was born in England. Well, technically the Southwest, which is kind of like a black hole of chavs and cider. Number 9, Syndrome, The Incredibles. Syndrome is an incredibly captivating villain. He's goofy but vicious in a way that calls on the campy nature of the old Bond films. But amidst all of this over-the-top energy is a short speech which highlights the deviousness of his character. After capturing Mr. Incredible, Syndrome reveals his plan to make superheroes obsolete by giving the world access to his technology, thus leveling the playing field for all those not blessed by genetics or gamma radiation. Now, while this could be a good thing in principle because, it's elevating mankind together, he's doing it for malicious intent. He ignores the fact that by taking people's advantages away, it would allow for criminals and those with nefarious intent little deterrent. His perceived slight against him by Mr. Incredible as a child has warped a personal vendetta into something that would effectively rewrite society, and that's pretty deep for a film aimed at kids. Number 8, Roy Batty, Blade Runner. This might be on the shorter side of monologues, but it's still perfectly powerful. Delivered by Rutger Hauer, it's a speech which garners its impact because of the delicate pacing. Hauer's performance is mesmerizing, made even better by the fact that the monologue wasn't scripted and came from the actor himself. Standing in the rain, living the final moments of his replicant life, Batty's monologue is filled with tragedy and despair. With his death, those magical memories are gone, becoming merely tears in rain. But while they may have gone for him, they've lingered in our minds for years. Number 7, Daniel Plainview, There Will Be Blood. Another shorter monologue, There Will Be Blood contains a speech which simply rocked its audience. Less a slow-burning delivery and more of a kinetic and chaotic flurry of words, Daniel Day-Lewis lays bare a man who is mentally broken and held together with nothing but piss and anger. As Plainview prods and pokes Eli, mocking him about his hard fortune, he becomes more and more violent. His explanation of how he stole Eli's oil is haunting, and while out of context the phrase, "I drink your milkshake," may seem quite comical, when it's being delivered by Lewis, it's anything but. It's a monologue which exposes the insidious nature of Plainview and is almost like watching a man exorcising his demons, but in a much more violent manner. Number 6, Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the Lambs. This is a wonderfully chilling moment. Hannibal might be the man behind the glass cage, but he has all the power in this scene. He sized Clarice Starling up and reveals his psychopathic nature, showing the poor FBI agent that he absolutely has control of the situation. It also tells us everything we need to know about Hannibal Lecter. He's vastly intelligent, he's a master of language, both aggressive and intuitive at the same time, and he's got those cold eyes, like a philosophical fish. Anthony Hopkins delivers this monologue with such confidence in this one introduction that he immediately makes this film his own. Hannibal Lecter is a man to be feared, and it takes a lot of courage to respond to that. It truly is the beginning of a very interesting relationship. Number 5, Colonel Walter E. Kurtz, Apocalypse Now. Despite how difficult Marlon Brando was to work with on the set of Apocalypse Now, you can't deny that his monologue as Colonel Kurtz was anything other than powerful. Bathed in shadow with just a shaved head and a calm, focused voice, Kurtz is like me, frightening, grim, and as visually striking as the story he recounts. This monologue captures the insanity that led him down his path, and it's hard not to be repulsed and yet pity the man who encountered those children's arms, an experience which turned him as hard as a diamond as a result. It's an emotionally powerful monologue indeed. Number 4, Colonel Nathan R. Jessup, A Few Good Men. You might walk down the street one day after just coming out from bingo with your nan and hear somebody yell, "You can't handle the truth!" And that line came from the film A Few Good Men. This opening line breaks the floodgates of Jack Nicholson's acting talent and allows him to ascend to a point where he looks like he's breathing bloody fire. He passionately defends what he views as a means to an end. Death is necessary. Words are just words, and actions mean everything. If you watch the scene closely, you'll see he barely blinks as he's so caught up in his delivery. Now, you might not agree agree with Colonel Jessup's defense, but you sure can't deny his convictions. Number 3. Jules Winfield, Pulp Fiction. Now this was a tough one as it was a toss-up between two Samuel L. Jackson speeches, the other being his monologue in Deep Blue Sea as Russell Franklin. However, Pulp Fiction's Jules just edged it out, and not just because he shares the same name as me, but because Jules doesn't get munched by a shark, which does take away a bit of the badass of the situation. The passion in which he recites the passage from the Bible and his manic-eyed stare make him utterly imposing. With the righteousness of his delivery, Jules becomes vengeance, delivering the word of God on this supposedly evil man. How can anyone stand up to that? Well, simply put, they can't. It's a monologue that builds and builds with tension until Jules releases it with an explosion of gunfire. Samuel L. Jackson has had many cool movie moments, but possibly none as cool as this. Number 2. Quint, Jaws. Never has one movie monologue truly defined the danger and horror that awaits our heroes more than this one. Robert Shaw is brilliant as the embittered shark hunter Quint, and his speech feels so personal that we really feel the horror permeating the scene, as well as a stark reminder of how dangerous sharks can be. There are many reasons to love this little monologue. The ominous setting of our three heroes on a boat, seemingly safe within the hull, yet journeying to face the killer shark itself. The look on Brody and Vaughn's faces, the forbidding tone of Quint's delivery, light-hearted at first, almost offensive, and then turning deadly serious as he recounts the horror that ensued, or the matter-of-fact delivery of his final line. Whatever it is, the culmination of all these points creates an experience which chills and captivates in equal measure. And number 1, Charlie Chaplin, The Great Dictator. This is an utterly humbling moment of cinematic history. If it were up to me, this entry would just be the clip in full for you to sit and digest, but alas, I'll have to do a paltry excuse of an explanation as to why this is so good. Firstly, let's look at the context. Chaplin is playing an identical twin of Hitler lookalike Adenoid Hinkle, simply named the Jewish Barber. The plot centers around the barber's misadventures as he becomes embroiled in an escalating conflict against Jewish people which is so biting that it nearly hits the bone. When the barber trades places with the dictator and is forced to make a speech, the comedy and tension comes from what will he say. So it comes as a huge surprise that he delivers a powerful message about humanity, equality, justice, and harmony. He asks us not to be controlled by governments, to think for ourselves, to be forgiving and patient with those who are different to us. I share no lie when I express that this brought me to tears when I first watched it, and I hope that it's a message that resonates with you lot as well. I do it no justice with this explanation, but I implore you to seek this film out. It is that f***ing good. You're welcome. And that's our list. Got any more outstanding speeches which I've missed? Well, let me know about them in the comments section below. And why not swing by whatculture.com to check out daily news and articles. As always, I've been Jules. You can follow me here on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0, and I will speak to you soon.